what's up everybody? It's been a while since I've done one of these just free roaming topics that just popped into my head. So let's talk about some anime. But before we get started, I want to give a special shout out to my newest patron, Norma D! Yay! Welcome to the Muddy Cult follower patron world. I greatly appreciate your support. Thank you so much for coming into our little community here, and I look forward to doing more personalized things with you as well as the other patrons who support me. And if you want to become a Muddy Cult patron, you can follow the link in the description below. It does help the channel and the blog, and I do a whole bunch of extra things such as early access, personalized checky, you get extra little pre-orders and stuff, as well as a letter from myself. You get to request things for me to review and stuff for us to watch on Discord, etc, etc. You can all find that on Patreon. Also, if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscription button below. I know a lot of you who watch my channel are not subscribed, and I don't know what the heck you're doing with yourself. How are you going to know when I put up new videos if you're not subscribed? So take a second, hit the red button, make it gray, be subscribed. So, let's jump into this topic. I have been an anime fan, and I had to for a very long time. I had to think about it as I was making this list, and I think it's finally hit 20 years. Yikes. So for all of those parents who are watching, adults who have kids, or young ones who are now grown and thought that this was a phase, it's not. Anime slowly becomes a lifestyle. Some people do fall out of it, but most of the time it still lingers in the back of their personality, and they still deeply enjoy anime. They just don't talk about it excitedly with enthusiasm and passion like they used to, or they move on to other interests that are linked to it, such as gaming and Japanese music, or K-pop even, or comics. We're all a bunch of nerds who like a lot of fictional stuff, and we like delving into that world. And these are some series that I wanted to delve into the world just a little bit longer. Now, I am going to be excluding series that have been announced that they are getting a second season or third season or whatever. There are a couple of exceptions that I have included that I know are getting something that continues the story, but there's no exact date for it yet. So, in no particular order, here are some anime series that left me wanting more. Let me first start off with a very popular series that I was late jumping onto, and I used it for an anime challenge for MyAnimeList. And if you want to follow me on MyAnimeList, I'm going to leave my profile in the description below, and you can totally see what I'm watching, what I've watched, what I plan to watch, so on and so forth. But this series I watched for an anime challenge called Yuri on Ice. A lot of my friends really loved this series, and lots of people enjoyed it as well. Pretty much, Yuri on Ice, it says it all in the title. It is about a boy who wants to become a figure skater, but he kind of loses motivation to do it because he fails in one of his competitions, and one of his idols, Victor, sees his tribute execution of one of his performances, and he flies over to him and it becomes his mentor. The whole story kind of reflects what most, I'm not gonna strictly make this binary, but I'm gonna say fangirls. A lot of fans who enjoy shipping, let's go with that. They like to do a lot of shipping in the sports anime, like especially things like Free, sometimes Haikyuu, a little maybe Urameshi Pedal. I don't really see a lot of Urameshi slashes, but it probably exists. But this kind of like gave that whole like freedom to ship, and it actually became canon, but it was not like the main focus of the show. It was just a wholesome, passionate feeling about skating and learning to love yourself, and that was just what the show was about. And I'm so surprised that this show hasn't like immediately given us a second season like Free and Haikyuu, like these other sports shows that have gotten very, very popular. I do know that they are making a movie. I don't really know a lot of details, but it is called Yuri on Ice, Adolescence or something. I don't know if this is a sequel movie or a retelling of the story or a reimagining of what we saw in the show, but I definitely would like to see more Yuri on Ice. Like a lot of fans, I'm just late to the game of, enjoying the show. But it definitely like kind of leaves an open window of what could happen. I'm not gonna like divulge in any spoilers. It just, I want to see what happens next for Yuri and Victor and all the other characters we get to learn about in the show, because they were very interesting, and I will most likely talk about it more, my opinion about the show on the blog, so definitely look out for that review. Next is a show that was on Netflix that I also watched for an anime challenge, and it's not your conventional like anime show. It's more stop motion, and it's Rella, Kuma, and Karu-San. This is a stop motion show that is just so wholesome and cute, and I really like that I was forced, not really forced, but pushed to watch it a lot sooner for my anime challenge. It's about, the titular characters, Rella, Kuma, and Karu. Most people are familiar with Rella, Kuma. There's two other mascots that also might be familiar to those who enjoy Rella, Kuma, and they live in this apartment with Karu, and we just kind of see her life and her life with these two bears and the bird, and it's just really simple, daily, day-to-day things that they do, and at the end, I am gonna, spoil a little bit, but, I mean, it's not that big of a deal because you don't really know all the stuff in between, but they do have to, move to another place, but they seem very happy and content about it, and I'm just curious where their journey is going to lead, what other little adventures. I know it's kind of like a minor feeling, it kind of ended in a good place. You could just imagine what's gonna happen. It's not like, I really, really want a second season, but, I mean, I feel like, why not? We're still in such a terrible state in this world with, the pandemic and everything else that's happening on top of it, and it would just be great to have another wholesome season of Rella, Kuma, and Karu-San. So please get on that Netflix. I would totally love to watch more of the cuteness. Switching gears from something cute to something a little bit raunchy, I would love to see another season of Prison School. Prison School is about these 5 guys who end up being in an all-girls school, and they're the first boys to be part of the school, and there's some set rules, and they end up breaking some rules, and they end up in a prison situation, and they have to pay off their crime, but the Shadow Student Council are trying to sabotage them and get them to be expelled from the school because they think they're disgusting. Lots of stuff goes on. It's very ecchi and stuff, and it's a very mature show, but I found it hilarious to the point that I started reading the manga series. Even though the manga series continues what happens in the story that's not in the anime, that you don't need a second season, it would be great to just see these things, moving in front of my eyes. Like, reading it is very enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to reading more Prison School, but it'd be great to, watch more of it, because I know there are some people who don't go and read the manga when they watch anime. There's some people that are like, oh, but the manga's better, and other people are like, I really don't like reading manga, I just want to watch the anime, so when the anime comes out, then I'll watch it, and then I'll be in the know. But you have series like this, where it just kind of, ends on a cliffhanger with the tables turning, and you don't know what's gonna happen next. It does have a special, but it doesn't really add too much to the story from what I remember, which isn't much, but I would love to see more Prison Skull, so give me more of that. Next is probably a very, very high popular opinion for many shonen fans, which is Hunter x Hunter. This creator is notorious for people making jokes about the Hunter x Hunter title and calling it hiatus because apparently the manga has constantly been on hiatus. The guy, I will give him, benefit of the doubt for taking care of his, mental and physical health, because the life of a mangaka, a manga author, is a very rough, hard, role to take. It has lots of deadlines and stress and not enough staff, and you're underpaid, underfed, etc., etc. I get it. But when you're better and the creator's just like, hey, this new game came out, and I'm gonna be spending all of my time doing that, instead of making more Hunter x Hunter. Now, I believe the manga is slowly coming out, and I've been, trying to satiate my thirst with this series by reliving a lot of the stuff that I've seen in the 2011 version of the show, and I've been really enjoying it. Right now, I'm in the Chimera Ant arc. I'm in the beginnings of it, so I know what happens, but I'm very excited to just, be in that world again, since the dub kind of let me down, and you can totally watch that. And you know what, I would not mind rewatching this whole show again, even though it's over 100 episodes long, but I would totally do it just to, get something. But I want them to continue onwards. Give us more Hunter x Hunter. I want to know what happens now that we've, seen so much development with all of these characters. I also want more growth with Leorio, because he's become a slightly interesting character. I know he's a very underrated, underloved character, but he has potential to be a lot more. And I would like to see more of Kurapika, and I would like to see all four of them reunite again and, do something together now that they have, slowly grown as hunters. I just, I don't know what's going on, what the wait is. I think someone needs to, kick this creator's, butt and be like, hey, the fans want more Hunter x Hunter. Get on it, dude. The next is another entry I used for a challenge, but this one's from a challenge that I'm doing currently this year, which is Given. Given is a music anime that has some shonen ai elements, aka boy love, and I totally understand why a lot of fans love this show. The show doesn't really focus a lot on the romance. It's more of also in a similar way of Yuri on Ice, which is finding your love within yourself and your love for music, and finding your inspiration for said music and why you want to pursue it and such, and just finding inspiration for that. And it just interweaves itself with shonen ai. So I'm totally on board with that. A lot of you know that I love some good shonen ai. But the way it ended, it just seemed like it was open for some more things to happen with these characters, especially because two of them are in high school, and it would be good to like see what comes of their relationship and what comes of the future of their band given. I know there is, I think it's an OVA or a movie or something that is connected to this, but it follows the other two characters that are not in high school, and I heard, or at least I read, according to some of the reviews on MyAnimeList, that it isn't as good. Like, the chemistry doesn't work as well as the main characters in the show. I also heard that it leaves out and or changes some things that happened in the manga, which I cannot confirm from a personal stance because I have not read the manga. But I would definitely love to see like a second season of Given if that's possible, because it's a very unique, different show, and I would like to see more music anime that like dabbles a little bit in, you know, shonen-ai or even shoujo-ai elements. Be great. Next is a show that got hyped for a little bit and then it died down some, which is Aoharu Machine Gun. This show features a girl who accidentally breaks a vase or some expensive thing in a host club, and she is forced to pay off the debt by being part of Toy Gun Gun, a paintball team, because that's the only way you can pay off the debt. I mean, it's so totally like Ouran Host Club kind of storyline. Kiss, kiss, fall love. But we got paintball. I loved the show. I was so hooked to the show. I wanted to cosplay one of the characters with a friend. I have yet to do that, but I'm still like on board to do that. I still have some of those items in my like Amazon wish list that I just need to acquire so I can become this character. And I started the manga, and I forgot which video I mentioned it in. It's in one of the haul videos, but I did read a little description about it, the show. I've only read the first volume. I'm looking forward to reading more of the manga because I feel like this show is not going to get a second season, and the only way I'm going to find out what happens next is by reading the manga, which makes me sad. And it would just be great if there were more of the anime. The only thing that kind of like helped just give me this little taste was an OVA special that they did, but it's just not enough. I want a whole second season of the show because I thought it was very entertaining and very different. The next is Ajin, Demi Human. I am still currently reading this manga, but I still think it's a fantastic story. I actually streamed the live action movie on Discord with my people, and I thought it was very well done. I have not watched the anime movie versions of it, but it looked exactly the same as the show, so I don't think it really adds too much. But I am in the process of investigating whether the third part adds a little bit more to from after the second season. But I just would like to see what else is going to happen in the show, because it is very interesting, very different story. I mean, sure, kind of reminds me a little bit of Tokyo Ghoul, but I mean, there's some differences for sure. Also, I thought the animation was very unique and different, and I know it kind of jarred a few people who are used to, traditional hand-drawn anime. But I think this was CGI done well, so I would just love just one more season of Ajin Demi Human. That would be fantastic to learn about. If you don't know what it is about, definitely check out my first impression review of it. It's about a boy who gets hit by a truck and he finds out that he is a demi-human, which is a person who is connected to this shadowy creature that not a lot of people can see, and he can kind of control it, or he learns to control it, and these people are being kind of discriminated against and hunted down because they are viewed as threats, and this one group of people decide that they are superior to regular humans and cause chaos and try to take over Japan, or Tokyo, or whatever city that they're in. I think that's about the gist of what I can remember of what it's about. But it was a very action-packed thriller, and I enjoyed every minute of it, and I can't wait to delve back into the manga, because clearly there is no anime in sight, but it would be great if there was more. Another one, I know that there is a movie in the process of being made, and I think it actually continues the story, but I'm not completely sure. It's Tiger and Bunny. I came into it in the middle or towards the end of its hype when a lot of people were cosplaying Tiger and Bunny. I got into it because one of my friends was cosplaying one of the characters, and I just was like, I need to get into this. I want to see what the hype is about, and I totally understand it. I don't know, it's, it was so good. It is such a different concept, and it was before, One Punch Man became a thing. It kind of changed the perception of what superheroes are, because these superheroes were sponsored by different companies and stuff, and they would get, like, hero points and earn money and all of that stuff, but there was lots of relationship dynamics going on in it as well. And I found all the characters very interesting and unique, and I still want to cosplay Tiger. So, one day that'll happen, but I don't know when. But just like I don't know when this movie is coming out. I think it does continue the story, but I don't think it has an actual date yet. I could be wrong. I'll put a correction if of what's going on with that. But I was very into it when I first watched it, and I definitely understood the hype. And hopefully, whenever this movie comes out, it reignites the hype on this show, because it's really good, and I found it really entertaining. Next is probably a very niche one, and I've written a review about the manga and its prequel, and I think maybe I touched on the anime, I'm not completely sure. I'll definitely leave links in the description below and you can check those out, which is Lychee Hikari Club, or Lychee Light Club. This is an anime placed in maybe an industrial setting of these students who are trying to build this Frankenstein machine with different parts, some human, some not. And there are some, yaoi moments that occur, so it kind of mixes two of my favorite things in the anime and manga world, which is horror and yaoi. So there you go. I have done a cosplay from this show, or from this manga, and it was supposed to be a duet type thing, but that's a story for another day, and maybe that'll happen one day. But I really enjoyed the manga so much, and it makes me sad that there is no English publication of the prequel, which I would love to own. I also would love to own those beautiful figures, because I did see them, and I could not pre-order them. They, were gone so fast. There also is a band called that Hawkaway put together. There is a stage play of it, which I am looking forward to watching if I can find it with English subs, and there's also a live action movie. I am deeply invested in this series, you just don't understand. When I saw that there was an anime that existed, it's called Lychee DE, or De Hikari Club, or something like that, and it is basically a bunch of shorts, and all of the characters are chibis, and it doesn't follow the manga series at all, and it's more of a comedic type show, and I was kind of disappointed because I really wanted the same dark, mature content I got from the manga, and I would love that because that's something different that I don't see a lot in the anime world, especially with yaoi. There's not a lot of horror yaoi that goes that deep, and I would like to see that play out before me, so I guess I'll just have to get that with the live action movie, but it was just very disappointing that I just got a lot of cutesy stuff and a guest appearance from Hogway, which is fine, but it's definitely not what I wanted. Maybe one day they'll come back and return and be like, yeah, let's do a serious thing with this, because I would totally be on board with it. It can be a series, it can be like a little OVA, because it isn't like, it's only like 2 volumes of manga, or it can even be an animated movie. It'd just be great to watch, honestly. Next is another niche series that I don't know a lot of people who are into it, but it is Dogs, Bullets, and Carnage. Yes, this has an OVA, and I think it's 3 episodes or so. It's not a very long series, and it just only covers the prequel volume, which is Dogs, Bullets, and Carnage Volume 0. I want to watch a whole season of this. That'd just be great. I'm still finishing the manga. I think I only have 2 volumes left because I guess they're done publishing. I don't even know where, it stopped at 10 for like the longest, but I don't know if there's more than that in Japan. But as far as the English version goes, I think there's only 10. And I hope it does not disappoint me and just leaves on some like cliffhanger or some unfinished nonsense because of licensing or something like that. I don't even know how to like describe it. Like, if you're familiar with gangsta, it kind of has that feeling where you have these different like syndicates or groups or whatever going against each other. They're all just hyper surreal characters with different powers and appearances and all this other stuff, and it's just very exciting and very, I don't know, it's very entertaining, and it's hard to really explain what's going on in Dark Bullets and Carnage, but I mean, it's like all in the title. Like, there's not actual dogs in it, but they do fight like dogs, and there's lots of bullets, and there's lots of carnage, and it's great, and I want an actual series of the show and not just a short OVA, because that just did not give me enough of what I wanted. Next, another niche title, which is Alice in Borderland. But I guess it's less niche now because it has a Netflix series, which I have not finished yet, but it is fantastic, and it has kind of quenched my thirst for more of the series. I originally watched the OVA, which is only 3 episodes, and it was so fantastic. And when it ended, I was very disappointed and pissed, because I was like, this was it? There was only 3? I want more of this. I want to find out what happens next. And when I went to see, look up more information about the series, I learned that it was based on a manga series, so I went on Amazon and I looked everywhere. I looked on Barnes & Noble, I looked in Borders, I looked everywhere for this manga series. And it is only available in Japanese and French, and I do not know either proficiently enough to even read it. So I have to, probably read translations of this on my computer, which I am not a huge fan of. Alice in Borderland is a survival story about Alice and his 2 friends. Everyone in Tokyo all of a sudden disappear, and this screen tells them, or this voice or something tells them, hey, you need to go to this area, or according to the OVA anime, they see all these lights and stuff and they think it's a festival, so they go over to it and they realize they are part of a survival game. So they come across another character and she kind of gives them more information of what's going on, and they're like, no, you have to, this is the difficulty level and this is the type of game we'll be playing, and you have to complete the game or you'll die. And you know me, I love a good survival game, and I was so invested in this show, and I was just so mad that there was only 3, and it just left it, the door was just wide open, just bam, wide open, and you go in, and there's nothing there, there's no furniture, there's no lights, there's nothing, and I was so mad, and I can't read it, and it makes me mad. So when Netflix picked it up, it made me so excited to like jump back into this that I told my coworker about my struggles and passion and love for this series. And she got into it and we started discussing it, but now we have it on a bit of a pause right now. But yes, the Netflix series does help kind of satiate my taste for more of Alice in Borderland, but God, I would love to see more of the anime, because it is a little different than what we're getting in the Netflix show. Like the third season and the third episode and the second episode do kind of play mostly the same in the Netflix series, but the first episode is very different. If you haven't checked the OVA out, you totally should, but I would love more of the anime. That would be great. And also, I'm praying and hoping that the success of the Netflix series gives it a second season, even though I haven't finished the first season, and it also pushes manga distribution companies and licensing to maybe bring over the manga to America, because that would be fantastic, because I would love to read it and own it. Next is a very popular one that people have mentioned many a times that they want a second season of, which is Dead Man Wonderland. I am still reading this series, and I know that's just one way to even complete the story, because it also just left it like open-ended. I thought the anime was very good. It's about this boy who was in school and he sees this red man that totally kills all of his classmates, and he gets blamed for killing them, so he ends up in prison, and down below is the dead man, as they call it, people who have powers with using their blood. They can like manipulate it into different weapons, and he has that power, and he gets forced into these I guess not really survival games, but these very deadly games against other people who have the same power. And I found it very entertaining and good, and I wanted more of it. And I've watched every OVA special that they've thrown at us, and it just isn't enough. It just focuses on certain characters and expands on their backstory, which just makes me want more of a second season, and many others a second season. The only way I can satiate my thirst for more Dead Man Wonderland, of course, is reading the manga, which is, fine and well, but it would just be great to see it on screen play out before us. Just do that for us, thanks. Next is one that I've kind of briefly mentioned, which is Gangsta. This one is very similar to Dogs, Bullets, and Carnage, as I said, in story, where it has different crime syndicates going against each other. And I know the company had some financial issues, and I think they went bankrupt or closed or something like that. And there was issues with whether or not the manga series will continue. But alas, I think the manga series did get confirmed to be continued, because I have been reading the manga series. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. So I've been reading the manga series. I guess because I don't know when or if we'll ever get a second season of Gangsta, but I really enjoyed this show so much. It was very interesting. It was very entertaining. It had a lot of good, diverse characters. One of them was hearing impaired, which I thought was very unique and different, and I liked all the main characters' dynamics with each other. I even own a couple of the figures, and I really want to cosplay Nicholas so much. It would just be great to see a little bit more of the show, because I thought it was very fascinating and different. So it was great to see, and sign language being done in anime and having that kind of representation, because there's not a lot of hearing impaired or even disabled characters featured in anime, so I thought that was great, and he was pretty badass. Okay, next is another little well-known little show that I'm sure not a lot of people have heard of, which is Kagawani. It has two seasons. All the episodes are very, very short. They run about 7 minutes long if you include the opening and ending credits of the show, so it's very easy to binge. The show is about a video blogger attempts to fake cryptid sightings to boost his views, but gets more than he bargained for when his crew is slaughtered by a real monster. Elsewhere, students find themselves preyed upon by a sandworm-like beast, initiating a desperate struggle for survival on their own school grounds. With more of these attacks from mysterious creatures occurring, researcher Sosuke Bamba tasks himself with delving into the mystery. With nothing but the keyword Kagiwani to lead him, he scours the sites of recent attacks in hopes of finding a lead to eradicate the creatures for good. However, Sosuke finds that these threats to humanity are even closer to home when the pharmaceutical company Saragaku starts to encroach on his investigation. This show was extremely fascinating, and I loved every minute of it, and literal minute because it's 7 minutes. And I remember streaming the first and second season of it on Rabbit, rest in peace Rabbit. And even the people who joined to watch it were very interested and they wanted more. And I don't know why we did not get more. Because I wouldn't mind having at least one more season of this show because it was fascinating. I thought the animation was very, very different. I've never seen this type of animation done in anime before, but it makes it really, really stand out. And the characters were very interesting, and I just wanted to know more about the creatures, and I wanted to continue to root for Bamba because he is a real hero. Okay, you're almost done with the list. This one is probably another one that people have mentioned many a times, which is Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt. I really love this show. It is bonkers. It is so much fun. It is, I don't know, female empowerment. I don't know. It is crazy. And I got into the show because, once again, cosplay. The show is about these two fallen angels who fight crime, kinda, sorta. And lots of chaos happens. Panty is very loose and likes to sleep around, and she's very liberated with herself, and Stocking just wants to eat sweet and junks and just, be lazy and just live her life. Garter Belt is this priest-like guy with an afro who tells them, hey, this situation's happened at such and such place, you need to go there and check it out. But he also has a little kinky side to him, too. It is very much not for the children, and I loved every moment of the show, and I don't know why we don't have a second season of it, because it was a fantastic show. I want to cosplay one of the characters, I want to own the figures, I want to own the DVD, I want everything, and I want a second season, and so do many fans of the show. The soundtrack is amazing, and I think I shared it in a haul as well, and it's mostly done by Teddy Lloyd, and I love Teddy Lloyd. So, if you haven't seen Panty and Stocking, you should totally check it out. It's a wild trip, especially if you enjoy stuff like Fooly Cooly. It's kind of in that vein of zaniness. Last but not least is, gotta add another yaoi up in here. This one was part of a challenge that I did last year, and I have to cuss a little bit. It is called Yarichin Bitchboo. This show is about a transfer student or new student to a high school who is at this all-boys school, and he is looking for a club that he has to join because he has to join an after-school club. He joins this photography club and learns that it's not really a photography club. It is some kinky kind of sex club type thing where the members are kind of, I don't know, competing with each other to get the most, sleep with the most people, something like that, and he's not really into that, but he is pressured because he has to do that, has to at least do it once to pass the initiation, and another person also joins as well and realizes it's not a photography club, but he's totally okay with the rules, but our main character is totally freaking out over it, and it is quite a wild trip, and I believe it was only 2 episodes, and I was hooked, and I wanted just a little bit more, so I am looking forward to checking out the manga series to get a little bit more, but it would be great to see more of this because I feel like Yaoi does not get as much love and attention as Yuri does, and I would like to see more of that content, please. It's a very entertaining show. It's very funny, lots of comedy in it, and it was very hard to find to like watch it for my challenge, but I'm glad I did, and I had fun talking to my friend about it, but I am very much looking forward to reading the manga, which I did find at a Kinokuniya. So that's the anime that left me wanting more. Please go in the comments, leave some series that left you wanting a little bit more, or if there were some series I've mentioned that you agree should get another season, because these are all great entries, and I'm thirsty. I want more. Give me more content. So that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching and listening to me rant about anime. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, like I said, please hit that subscribe button below. I do post videos on Wednesdays or Thursdays, and sometimes I throw an extra video in the week. See you guys in another video. Please take care of yourself. Drink water, mask up, sanitize, wash your hands. Do all of that stuff. And I love you. Peace.